President Trump continuing to target so-called sanctuary cities across these United States. Big breaking story from the New York Times today. Border Patrol is going to use tactical agents to crack down on immigrant communities. This is according to two officials who are familiar with the secret operation. And the Times reports specially trained tactical units based at the southern border are going to be used in an effort to beef up the enforcement power of local immigration and customs enforcement agents. Joining me now is one of the reporters who broke this piece, New York Times reporter Zolan Kano-Youngs. He broke it with Caitlin Dickerson. He covers Homeland Security for the New York Times. You got your hands on or read a memo here describing what's going to happen. Walk us through that. What do we know of what's going to happen here over these next few months?
So CBP recently, and CBP being Customs and Border Protection, recently approved a request from the leadership of ICE to send over about 100 different agents, including the tactical agents that you just referenced. Those agents will be going to cities, most of them sanctuary cities throughout the United States. Some of those cities include New York and Chicago. The tactical agents that we're referencing are from a unit known as BORTAC. BORTAC, usually they're known for conducting high-intensity investigations, cracking down on stash houses, tracking drug smugglers, even going abroad to maybe train other law enforcement officials. They're the Border Patrol SWAT team, and ICE feels that they are behind right now in terms of conducting administrative arrests on the number of undocumented immigrants in these sanctuary cities. So they've requested backup, and that backup is coming in the form of Border Patrol SWAT team.
You cover this day in and day out, and I want to get to what you just mentioned there, the purported need for this to happen. In the piece that you and Caitlin report, there's the specter of the fear that this is going to cause, the effects this is going to have on these immigrant communities. And as you report this out, as you look at this, how much of this centers on that? Creating instability in these communities that have these sanctuary policies in place versus the Border Patrol's need to have this kind of reinforcement?
When you look at administrative arrests already, I mean, this goes back to the ICE raids from last year that were going after a certain amount of families who had crossed the border. The ICE struggled to get the arrests that they wanted out of that because awareness was raised. People don't have to open their doors when an ICE agent goes to their house. So the idea that you would have these tactical agents with all of this equipment, we have talked to people who do question the need for those agents with all of that technical equipment. So then you go to, well, then why would they be present there? Why those agents? And many people that we've talked to have brought up the idea of the appearance. We look at what has happened in the past couple of weeks in terms of the messaging as well as the concrete steps that the administration has taken to against certain sanctuary cities, namely New York. You could go back to global entry. The Department of Homeland Security banned enrollment and re-enrollment for New Yorkers to apply for global entry, citing a state law, the Green Light Law, which gives driver's licenses to undocumented immigrants and bans access, DHS access to their driver's license database. The Department of Justice has also filed lawsuits against sanctuary cities regarding their policies as well. So some do see this as a part of that pattern in terms of Trump's battle against sanctuary cities.
So hitting on the interagency component of this, which is so crucial at this time.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.